everyone. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. I hope you're having a fantastic week. So this week I thought we would do something a little fun since I'm in the middle of hosting the 2023 Epic Year Workshop. We're in the middle of designing our soul-aligned goals, and it got me thinking about destiny. And I thought, what's a way that I could share with you a fun insight into looking into destiny? So I have a couple of fun exercises that you can use to help you tap into your own powerful destiny. So let's start with the first one, which is candle divination. So what I'm talking about is ceromancy, which is the art of candle drippings or wax drippings into a cold glass, and you read the drippings. You can also do it by observing how the wax drips off of the candles. And first what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can try this at home and read the dripping. So just be aware that you're going to be dealing with, fire and wax. It's going to be hot. Be aware of the surface you do it on. I made the mistake years ago of working with candle wax on a carpet, and I will never ever live that down. So I would suggest doing this over a sink where you could easily clean it up. But what you want to do is you need something with cold water. Now, I don't have a pan. It's recommended that you could do this with a pan of cold water. I have a glass here, and I have 2 candles. So what you do is you can take 2 candles, and if you want, you can bind them together with a red ribbon, which represents that intention of finding purpose. And what you're going to do is light those candles and then hold them over the cold water and let at an angle so that you get a lot of dripping. And once the drips solidify in the water, they'll create a shape, and the shape is what you're going to read. Now, the best way to read it, I think, is to use your own intuition. So this is where you let yourself relax, you look at the shapes that they're creating, and you try to see what symbols are coming through. And based on the symbols you see, you can determine what the message is for you. But if you're one of those people that feels more comfortable with some set symbols in ceromancy, I can share a few of those with you, and you can look and see if any of them show up in your ceromancy practice. So if you were to drop candle wax into cold water and see a bird, this would mean news is coming. If you were to see a chain form, that would be a message letting you know to go ahead and go with your plans. If you see a circle or a ring appear, it's letting you know that it's time for reconciliation. If a cross appears in the water, it's letting you know you're protected. If you see a splayed fan appear in the water, it means a surprise is coming. If you find a heart in the water, that's letting you know that love is on the horizon. If you see a moon appear in the water, this is letting you know money's coming. And if you see a table appear in the water, this is letting you know that abundance is all around you and your family. So the next little exercise I have for you is a type of psychic attunement exercise. So it's meant to help you develop your own psychic abilities while showing you a path of destiny forward for you. So it's helping you tap into soul purpose while helping you increase your own psychic ability. And it's a simple visualization I can take you through right now. So first, what I want you to do is take a moment, take a deep breath in, and let it go, closing your eyes. Imagine you are walking along a path by the edge of a stream, which leads you towards the base of a mountain and the entrance of a cave. Outside of the cave, there's a sign that says, "The secret of your success lies within." At the heart of the labyrinth, deep inside the cave, is the secret, but no one has yet to find the way back out. You stop by the cave, curious, and you want to know the secret inside. Attached to the wall is a ball of golden thread. infinite in length. You take the end that dangles there. As you walk into the cave, you see 20 pathways leading into a labyrinth. You know that whichever path you take will lead you to the secret. You have the ball of golden thread, and whichever path you take, you can find your way out. You plunge into the narrow passageway and immediately see other paths branching off to the left and the right. As you walk deeper into the labyrinth, your golden thread falls on the ground behind you. You don't know where you are going, but then you see the sign, "The secret is here." You walk over to a book that has no words in it. You stare at the book and know intuitively what your soul's purpose for you is as the words appear on the page. You can close the book and return through the labyrinth, following the golden thread back into the light of day. Now you can open your eyes, knowing that you have encountered the truth about your true vocation or life's journey. So this one's going to take some trust, right? So you're going to see something in the visualization. If you're naturally clairvoyant or a great visualizer, you're going to experience something appearing there, and then you just need to trust it. If you have a hard time trusting your conscious mind, like you just can't get that inner critic to go because it's telling you, oh, you're making this up, that's what you want it to say, that's fine. Then what you can do is run through this visualization before bed and ask yourself to go through it completely in your dreams and let the answer come to you in your dreams, because many times people feel like they don't have conscious control of what's happening in the dream state, and then you'll know that your subconscious mind is feeding you the answer. So I hope that you found those fun or exciting. Let me know in the comments if you tried them out and what your results were. I'm really curious to see. And with that, let's do some karma cards this week. Right, if you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you use that beautiful intuition of yours and tune in. What do you need this week? Are you looking for action related guidance, or are you looking for outcomes? And of course, you can always choose both. While you're deciding, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for November 16th through the 23rd. And the flavor of this reading, well, we've got the sun, which is one of the better cards to get when it comes to planets. So this is about something coming into actualization. It also talks about our leadership in the sign of Gemini. Gemini represents information coming out or coming to the forefront in the 6th house, which has to do with health and service. So this will be an interesting read. Let's find out. For those who are choosing action, your spiritual action is to demonstrate what you want to be known as a full-time job. This one's interesting because it comes back to sort of the principles of manifesting, that whatever you're talking about, you're helping to manifest. And a lot of times we bond through talking about what we don't want or we don't like, right? That's one of the ways that we bond with each other. But this is letting us know that we need to focus more of that energy on what we want. And sometimes we need to look deeper at, why is it I'm afraid to talk about what I want? And usually it's because I have a fear that that won't come true. You know, I have a fear that if I say it, somehow I'm taking it apart, when it's the exact opposite. When we say it, we're helping to cement it into place. So right now, our full-time job is to speak about what we want to experience rather than what we don't want to experience. Mental action at this time. Realize what is believed about serving. All right, so we're being asked to mentally dig into our beliefs around what serving is. And I find this one interesting as well, because this is where we'll find out if we have a balanced view of being of service or if we go into martyrdom. So most people that I work with and I talk to, they don't have a problem being of service. Being of service is something they do naturally and they feel comfortable with. Usually they have a problem keeping it balanced, where they're including themselves and they're including their own needs in the process. So it's asking us to get more clarity on how we view being of service. And then if we want to take it a step further, we can identify whether that view is a full service. So remember, to be service to others doesn't just include other people. It has to include you for it to be fully service to others, right? Because oneness implies all. And if we leave ourselves out, then we're not in that state of oneness. We're still in a state of separation. Physical action at this time. Act like a leader, use the quickest way, and do it a little at a time. So this is us being asked to get in there and take action, right? So the sun's getting us to take action right now. If we want to use the quickest way, we need to think about what's the next logical step in a process. So be a leader, initiate. The quickest way is the next logical step. So we're thinking smaller steps at this time. And this is being reinforced here with do it a little at a time. So little steps get us forward. This is how we create traction. When we're not creating traction, like let's say we're stuck in paralysis or procrastination, we're probably looking at whatever it is we need to get done with, we're looking at it in too big of a view. We can break it down into smaller steps. You'll find when you break something down into those smaller steps, it feels doable again. So if whatever you're looking at, whether it's setting your goals for next year, whether it's trying to achieve or finish a project, just notice if you're looking at it in too broad of a lens. Can it be broken down into smaller steps? And you'll find it's incredible when sometimes the first step is just get up, right? Get up, put shoes on, put coat on, go outside, go for a walk. You'd think that the smallest step is go for a walk. That's still too big. So sometimes breaking it down into those tiny steps, you get out of resistance and you move into action. So we've looked at the actions. Now let's look at outcomes for the sun in Gemini in the 6th house of health and service. Your spiritual outcome at this time is the creation of information to explain service to others. You can kind of see how we got there through the action steps. As we dig deeper into our beliefs, this helps give us information about where we're coming from, what our perspective is, and then we're able to share that information with other people. Either we share it because it's a perspective that's working for us, or we can share it because it's something that's gotten in our way, and when we realize it, then we can pass that knowledge forward and help someone else see if that's where they're getting stuck too. Mental outcome, the gaining of respect from or for communications about what is good for us. So the 6th house often gives off vibes about how, what is right isn't always easy. What is good for us isn't always what we want, right? But this is the focus now, is that we're starting to understand that there are things in this life that are worth having that aren't always going to be perceived as enjoyable, right? And it's the interesting thing is, like, I don't know why this is coming up, but think about a vegetable that as a kid you hated, but you always had to, it was given to you. Like for me, it was Brussels sprouts. My family loved Brussels sprouts. I didn't like Brussels sprouts growing up as a kid. They were really bitter to me. But they're good for you, right? That's one of those, they're good source of protein and fiber, I think, and so they're actually quite good for you. Over time, as you get older, your taste buds develop and your perception changes. You eat them again, they taste different. You get the nuances of flavor that you weren't getting before. And I know this is like a funky metaphor I'm trying to use here, but what I'm saying is our perception, the perception as a child was that this is bitter and gross. as we shift our perspective, as we grow up and develop ourselves, when we revisit those things, what we find out is that it wasn't as unpleasant as we thought it was. And that's kind of the information I'm getting here, is that the more we shift our perspective about the things that are good for us in our lives, the things that are really healthy, whether it be meditating more or getting to bed on time, getting off of our devices, things like that, that might not necessarily be that exciting, but are actually good for us, we start to see their value and appreciate them more. And it requires a shift in perspective from us. Physical outcome at this time: things brought to life or light resulting from the fluctuations of your work. I feel like what this is talking about is, again, that perspective thing. The more work that you do to shift your perspective, and then when you take that break, right? So how many of us have that story of where maybe we worked out for a bit, and we upped our exercise routine, let's say, and then something happened, you get a cold, right? Or you have to go on a trip or something like that, and the whole routine gets taken off, and so you naturally have stopped, or you've paused for some reason. Having those two experiences is incredibly helpful, because that's how you get insight. That's how you shift your perspective. It's going from, I didn't really love to constantly or work out this way, but I love the way I felt after doing it. And after a week or so of not doing it, I really appreciate what I was doing for myself there. That's just an example of what this would look like. So the contrast and the fluctuations in our life, a lot of people get down on themselves because they expect themselves to maintain a routine. And life is really about change, and change is fluctuations. It means something is different, right? So rather than looking at it from the perspective of, I can't keep this up, or I've let myself down, use the two perspectives that's given to you by change and fluctuation. Look at what it was before, look at what it is now. What do you appreciate about what was happening then? Or what do you appreciate about what was happening now? Like if you were to get out of a terrible relationship and end up being single, you might have this feeling of, I'm not good at relationships, or maybe I won't have one again. But this is an opportunity for you to compare and contrast the two experiences. What worked, what didn't? What feels better now? What felt better then, right? And it helps you to establish what you value when you do that. And that's what's going to come to lighter life in this period. So we're going to be looking at this or that, right? We're going to be looking at all these different aspects, things that we believe, the way that we're seeing ourselves in relationship to how we are with others. And a lot of different health aspects are coming up here, even though it wasn't said directly by the cards. A lot of health metaphors ended up coming through anyway. So I hope that helps you. Let me know your thoughts on this reading. Put it in the comments, like, share, and subscribe. And I cannot wait to see you next week. Mwah.